Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA and More show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, JC Ice.
Thanks, Wolfie D. No, I'm Gary Rhodes, and he's not.
Thank God for that.
Got two of us.
Anyway, the first thing we want to talk about is, before we go into talking about the TNA shows this week, we want to shout out Jerry the King Lawler, who seems to be making a remarkable recovery, doing well due to all the reports we've seen. If you've seen our WWE show, it was really a somber show because we were both kind of upset and still didn't know if King was going to be okay or not. He's even posted a tout now.
Only tout I ever liked.
And it's showing him up and moving and talking and thanking all of his fans for their support and well wishes. And we just want to say, King, it's great to see you. I can't wait to see you back on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically that's what we have to say about it. Keep him in your prayers because, he's not all the way out of the woods, but he's doing a lot better, and thank God for that. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the TNA show, or the TNA pay-per-view, No Surrender.
Which is basically a show, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. You got the first thing they had. The first things they had were the Bound for Glory series matches. The first one being Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy. And for the second time within a week, Hardy went over on Joe. And if you've seen our last video, you've seen how pissed off I was at that booking. So to me, this is even more... I'm even more pissed off at this because you've let Joe lose to this guy twice in a week. A guy, that...
He's a drug addict. Honestly... And there's nothing against it if you're trying to get better, but it was only been a year and you're putting all the faith in your company in this guy's hands.
And we understand. He sells tons and tons of merchandise, and he has a big fan base. We know some of you guys out there are fans of his. We're not saying that we hate the guy. We don't hate Jeff Hardy. We just don't think that he should get over on a guy that's more dedicated to TNA like Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and plus, the length of time he's been wrestling now, it's time for him to kind of let the younger guys get over. Yeah. Even though he's not an older guy himself, but body-wise, how many more years has Hardy got?
Yeah, he's put himself through hell between the matches he's wrestled and the drugs he's done. He's probably not got much more wrestling left in him.
So why not put up, or pick up Joe? Let Joe get that. I think Joe's ready for it. And a shitty roll-up, that just pissed me off.
But then we had the second Bound for Glory series match, James Storm versus Bully Ray, which ended in a run-in by Robert Roode, screwing over James Storm to further their angle, which also played out on Impact on Thursday night with them, wrestling around in the back and everything. I thought it was a pretty solid match, probably one of the better matches of the night, personally. What do you think about it?
I liked it. I really did. I think it was a classic match. Bully Ray just played the heel awesome, and with the finish of it was perfect for him.
Yeah, and Bully Ray is playing a classic heel. He's not playing I'm a badass heel. He's playing a heel that uses any means necessary to win, and I really enjoy that about his character. It harks back to the guys like Harley Race, Ric Flair, and people of that nature that weren't afraid to look like a pussy, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember when he first turned into Bully Ray, he was trying to be the hard-ass one.
Yeah.
And it was going over, but since he's pulled this character out,
Metamorphosation.
Exactly. Yeah. Evolution.
There you go.
He's...
you tell him, Triple.
Game... He's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think right now, to me, he's one of the top heel in the business.
And while we're talking about the pay-per-view, one thing that bothered me a lot, and it bothers me every time they do it, they should take every pay-per-view out of the Impact Zone. Now, whether they do it in a small arena, big arena, or not, when I watch a pay-per-view in the Impact Zone, to me it comes off as just a second Impact that week.
Mm-hmm.
And this played out exactly like that. Between the Bound for Glory series matches, which you're promoting another pay-per-view more than the pay-per-view you're watching.
Well, they make this like a $15 pay-per-view just to build up for Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Why pay $50? Why people spend their... the economy's hard.
Yeah.
$15, they probably would have tripled their money with a $15 pay-per-view.
And that's the thing. That's the thing you're saying. Hardcore wrestling fans buy every pay-per-view. We get that. We watch every pay-per-view, so we understand. but you want to bring a new audience in. Let's say this is your first time watching a TNA pay-per-view, and all they're doing is promoting the next pay-per-view with this, and it looks exactly like the show you just got for free 2 weeks ago.
It's going to look Bush League.
It does, and you know, if they're, for a company like TNA that needs to build up their fans, they need to do a little bit more on their pay-per-views. That's, you know, basically my opinion of it.
Well, the thing, like I said, they're building up the next pay-per-view off this one. You know, honestly, I lost interest in this pay-per-view just because of it. Because the whole time they're wrestling, when it pans out, all you see is Bound for Glory series on their Tron. You know, I'm not paying for Bound for Glory yet.
I'm paying for Bound No Surrender.
No Surrender.
But, you know, and then other than that, some of the other matches we had on there, we had Aries versus Armbreaker from Aces and Eights, which seems to be Luke Gallows, and that's not confirmed as of yet. So if it's revealed as somebody else, I'm sorry if you took our word for it, but it looks like him. He's built like him. Seems to move like him.
I think the really big guy, the guy that's bigger than him, I think it's either Abyss or the guy that was pretending to be Abyss with the whole Bully Ray series or scheme, but because they're the same size.
Well, if you notice when they do the backstage interviews, and this is coming off of Impact, he used to have Prospect on his jacket, the bigger guy that talks. Now it says Vice President. So there's still somebody over him in the group. I don't know if that's subtle or they just are giving him random motorcycle jackets to go out there with. I don't know if that's a subtle hint. I mean, to me, it's a subtle hint because if you know anything about motorcycle gangs, and I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit. I've known some people that have rode with motorcycle clubs, and you get Prospect if you're new. Vice President is exactly what it says. Vice President of the club, and President is President of the club, the leader. And, you know, that's, to me, it's a subtle hint that there's somebody else pulling the strings.
I just hope to God it's not Hulk Hogan.
Well, it's the rumors are anywhere from Jeff Jarrett, John Morrison, Luke Gallows himself, and, you know, any number of ex-WWE guys that don't have a contract right now have been rumored. Anybody from Lex Luger on.
Yeah.
But hopefully it pans out good. I think Mark Madden said it the best when he put, start writing it down on a notepad or open notepad on your computer and write an ending to Aces and Eights that isn't going to disappoint anybody. And really you can at this point. It's built up so big that other than somebody huge like John Cena jumping ship and becoming the leader of Aces and Eights or Randy Orton, you know, other than something like that, it's going to be a letdown. But, you know, I mean, that's our opinion. Next, we have the Zema Ion versus Sanjay Dutt. They wrestled on this show, and they wrestled on Impact. I thought their Impact match was the better match of the two.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's more because of familiarity that the second match was better than the first. I wasn't a real big fan of the match on the pay-per-view personally.
I like the show match better.
Yeah, and you said, and you've been a guy that's been critical of the past, that Zema Ion's starting to grow on you.
He is. He's grown on me. I like the character. He's pulling off kind of like the old Rick Martel, kind of with the arrogance and stuff like that. You know, it's pulling up pretty good.
He's building more depth into the character, which is building him up better, and he likes it a lot more. I'm still on the fence with the guy. I think there's more talented guys out there.
Well, you have to admit, in the past 2 months, I mean, he's improved quite a bit.
Yeah, he has. And don't get me wrong, I hope he does improve. I don't think he should be the champion right now. Sanjay Dutt is a guy that's actually better than him and better suited to represent your company as champion. Hell, Chavo Guerrero, as their TNA X Division champion, would get them some more mainstream notice because Chavo's a name that's known.
Just because of his last name.
Right. And then you got the match with Magnus and RVD, which I think was the best match of the pay-per-view, personally. Magnus I really like. He's a kid that I think is going to be going somewhere really big anytime soon. He's just ready to bust through the glass ceiling just whenever they feel like giving him the option to do that.
Well, his talking has evolved so much. And I mean, he's always had a decent ring work, and he's gotten better over the years. But now that they're actually giving the kid a microphone or giving him talk time, he has improved tenfold in the past 3 years since he's been in TNA.
Yeah, and kudos to the kid. I think he has a bright future. I hope he gets his push soon.
But the wrong guy won in that match. I think, and I like RVD, but RVD's been around forever. It's time to build these younger kids up, and he should have got over on RVD.
Yeah, and RVD is one of my all-time favorites too, and I agree with what you're saying on that. To me, it sounded like a filler before the Magnus and Joe feud really starts up.
So how much would better the feud have been if he beat RVD?
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. And then you got the tag team title match between Kaz and Daniels and AJ and Angle, a match we've seen probably two or three dozen times already. Again, it was a solid match. Kaz and Daniels won cheatingly, which is always good for us. We're heel heat. We like the heel moves. I really like Kaz and Daniels as a team. I hope they don't take the belts off of them anytime soon.
You know, if they would have been this hot years ago as a tag team, could you imagine if they still had the Motor City Machine Guns? How good of a rivalry that would have been.
Or even Beer Money or Team 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Or even America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been some really good tag teams in TNA, and Joe and Magnus would have been great to wrestle now.
I think they've really evolved, though. I really do. I think they are.
And it's
probably
more so Kaz than Daniels, because Kaz was really a spot monkey wrestler until him and Daniels, actually until Fortune, is when he started this evolution into the character he is now, and I really like it as well.
He's one of my favorite heels right now.
Then we had the main event of the pay-per-view was Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray, the finals of the Bound for Glory series. Again, Hardy goes over on Bully Ray. To me, it's the wrong move, especially since you have a face champion. Why not let the biggest heel in the company go against the face at the pay-per-view? That's my opinion. That's what it should be, personally, I think. I don't know. I mean,
I agree. You know, I'm very high on Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, whatever you want to call him. I think he's so great at being a heel with the whole beatdown thing where Hardy came in there hurt. He should have just slammed him and finished him off.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's just another one of those things that the booking was a little bit off. I mean, I understand, again, I do understand why Jeff Hardy's going over. He does have a huge following. But to me, it should have been Bully Ray and a face. Bully Ray versus Austin Aries is a feud we've seen a little bit earlier in the year. But this time for the World Championship, I think it would have went over tremendously. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to go into that. Basically, that was the main event of the show. So our question of the week, last week, was who did the move better? Sting doing the Scorpion Deathlock or Bret Hart doing his Sharpshooter? They were the same move. Two guys did it, used it as their finisher. We got some answers for friends of ours. The first was from Paul from the Deadly Sins. I have to go with Bret Hart for the best Sharpshooter. And the second was from Otto Von Fox. He just put Sharpshooter, excellence of execution. Me personally, I agree with the two people that wrote in. I think Bret used it better. It looked more crisp when he did it. It seemed to have more meaning to it. And I just like the way he executed it better. Again, excellence of execution. What did you think, GR?
I'd go with Bret, too, on it. Because, I mean, honestly, Bret would actually hit it almost out of different areas, too.
Right.
He didn't have to just have you laying on your back. I mean, Bret could be on his back, too. Like when he fought Ric Flair to win the title the first time. You know, he fought out of a figure four and put Flair into the Sharpshooter.
So that's the first time we've had a clean sweep of it.
Yeah. And another thing is, too, like when he even faced with Perfect, you know, he went into it in different directions and it made it look more painful.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you got to sell your moves, and I think Bret sells it a lot better.
Now, the question of the week for next week, being this a TNA and other show, the GM of TNA, Hulk Hogan, what do you think the worst Hulk Hogan moment has been? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Put us down in the comments down where?
Down there.
Down there below the video. And let us know what you guys think, and we'll tell you what we think next week on that. Then we go into the TNA show of the week. You got Austin Aries coming out, starting with Jeff Hardy, talking back and forth. Bully Ray comes out to set up the Bully Ray versus Hardy match later in the show. I thought it was a decent opener. I think TNA is starting to fall into the WWE problem of starting off with interview openers instead of starting off with wrestling openers.
I'm just hoping it happened just because the last was this is the first one after a pay-per-view.
Right, and then we had the confrontation between Rude and Storm on the show, which again, you know, is back from the pay-per-view. Not much of nothing. They just kind of wrestled out of the arena. Basic feud building stuff. You had Kaz and AJ. If Kaz won, AJ and Angle don't get a title shot. If AJ won, AJ and Angle get a title shot. AJ goes over here, and
also Daniels loses his match too.
Yeah,
so.
Daniels fought Chavo Guerrero later for Chavo and Hernandez's title shot, and obviously Chavo wins. So hopefully that's going to set up a nice three-way match at Bound for Glory. Then we got the Hogan segments with first him coming out to the ring talking about aces and eights.
There's Pyro. Where's the Pyro at?
Oh my God. And then you had them, talking to him in the screen, him in the back with Brother Love, D'Lo Brown, Dixie, and Al Snow, and Brooke.
Brooke has so much to do with it now. The thing is, like I said, with the Pyro stuff, people thought Vince has a big ego. Vince don't come out with Pyro every time. You don't need Pyro to say, hey, we're going to have a tag match tonight.
I mean, he has a tremendous ego, and again, that feeds into our question of what the worst Hulk Hogan moment was. And I think he's too much of Hogan on the show is not a good thing. I like him as a GM, keeping him on there. That's good for him, but he doesn't need to be on 5-6 segments in the night. Just once or twice will be fine.
You look at the bigger show. You look at WWE. I mean, Hogan's out more on this 2-hour show than 5 hours of WWE programming with the other 2 general managers.
Yeah. And it kind of was a little bit of a damper to the show. Then we got the main event of the night was Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray. Second time in a week that they fought, and the second time in a week. Actually, I think this was a much better match than the pay-per-view.
Oh, it's 10 times better. I'll give you that. But still, the wrong guy won.
The wrong guy won.
I mean, in 2 weeks, he has beaten Joe twice and Bully twice. You're beating your top tweener because Joe's really a face, and he's not really a heel. He's a tweener. I mean, and you're beating your top heel. You're really kind of just destroying the pathway of building these heels up.
And I think Bully Ray should have been the guy that won it all along. He's the biggest heel they have in the company, and Aries is a face. And plus, it would make more sense if Bully Ray is the leader of Aces and Eights are working to get Bully Ray the championship.
This is just my opinion on things. I guarantee you, because Hogan don't like it when faces are facing each other. They're going to probably end up turning Aries heel.
And the fans don't want it. The fans turned Aries face. They want him to be a face. They like his character that much that he was forced into being a face, basically.
I mean, I see another turn coming soon, and since the AJ's and Daniels and Kaz's thing, I think those 2 are going to turn face too. I'm just throwing that out there.
Just because they're getting over too good and they're funny. It's kind of like the old Edge and Christian stuff when they were a heel, but the fans turned. Basically, they weren't ever really a heel because the fans still cheered for them.
Oh, the 5-second pose and stuff like that. Apple teenies. I like that. That's my kind of tag team.
And it was a good finisher. I didn't like the ending. If you've seen our show last week, I'm not going to rant on you again, Jeff Hardy. It's at this point,
it's like beating a burnt dog.
You know my opinion, so I mean, it is what it is. I don't book for TNA. Maybe I should, but I don't. So I can't keep harping on the same point. Now, we have some other things we want to talk about. First, before you get into, I know you want to talk about your thing. I want to say, if you've seen the show, I don't know if it was last week's show or the week before, where I talked about the Ring of Honor not having Kevin Steen shirts. They have actually restocked their orders, and now they actually have brand new Kevin Steen shirts. So I don't know if you guys watched our show, or the week I was looking for them, it just happened to be that you didn't have what I was looking for. They still don't have Briscoe shirts in my size, which I think are the flagships of the show. They've been there since day one, basically, but kudos to Ring of Honor. I pointed it out when you didn't have it, so I'm going to point it out when they do good. They do have Kevin Steen shirts now. I ordered one today, personally. And speaking of shirts, Gary has something he wants to talk about.
I ordered Mr. Wonderful shirt from barbershopwindow.com. How long ago?
On August 17th, so about a month ago.
About a month ago. And they say it takes 14 business days to get here and all that good stuff, and I still do not have my Mr. Wonderful shirt.
On the 29th, you got the email saying that it should be there within 5 business days, which if you count from the 29th would have been sometime last week that it should have been here. They don't give a tracking number for it or anything, so you could say, hey, okay, it's in Iowa right now, it's going to be here Thursday.
And that'd been fine, but now they're just giving me shit over the receipt, this, and all that stuff. They know about it, you know? I mean, honestly, it's a smaller company, and, you know, I'm not trying to bury them, but honestly, if I don't get my shirt, this will be the last thing I order from them. I don't know if you'll ever order anything.
No, I'm never ordered from them. I mean, they have some really cool shirts, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of their shirts. This was the first test run. I mean, not a test run really, but you ordered something before there was some things I wanted to order on there, and with the way that the shipping's going on this, I'm not really liking how it's handled. And if you guys know the guys over at Barbershop Window, we're not trying to bury them at all. We're just saying that we're a little bit disappointed at the way the shipping is going, personally.
And that's it. You know, I mean, honestly, you could say, hey, by the way, we're running late, but when they say in a confirmation, saying it'll be there, you know, 5 business days or whatever it was, that's a week ago.
Yeah,
this is the end of the week, you know, this week, so it's going to be 2 weeks after that if I get it next week, if I even get it.
Yeah. But, you know, that's basically what we have for this TNA and More show. Check out some of our old shows. Check out the journey that Gary's going on. We posted a quick shot about it yesterday. Check it out. It's something if you guys want to help donate to the cause for Fountain Hill Elementary, which is our friend Paul over at the Deadly Sins. His daughter goes to that school. He's raising money for them, and Gary's joined in on the cause. And if you guys want to donate as well, let us know.
You don't have to donate $1 per pound or anything like that, but, you know, as much as you can will help. You
exactly.
know, I mean,
I think the minimum donation is $5. So if you want to take $5 and not buy a Happy Meal or a #1 at McDonald's this week and send it to the kids, help them get supplies that they need, it would be very much appreciated.
Like I said, everything that we get goes straight to Paul, and everything that Paul gets goes straight to the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no middleman or nothing like that. It all goes straight to these kids.
But anyway, we're running a little bit late on this show. This has been our Heel Heat TNA and More show. I'm George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
I hope you guys have a good day.